And I do a fair amount of sales training with my own team here, but I often talk about, we don't close here. So we don't close a sale, we open a relationship. So the way we lead the sales process is the whole time we're having a conversation with you to give you a sense of why you would benefit by having a relationship with us. This has nothing to do with whether or not you buy from us. This is just like, we want to have a relationship with you. And we have that relationship by offering these products, which we believe suit this need of yours. And by the way, it's connected to the things you find important. If these are the things you find important, because we do, then we should sustain this relationship for a period of time. And we do that by having you sign this contract. So we really, and I've taken a lot of time I've spent a lot of time with my sales team going, don't close a sale. People should never feel like you've closed anything. They should rather feel like they've become part of something, part of a family, part of a movement, part of something that matters, something that's going to make a difference, right? Especially in today's world with millennials, who don't buy stuff based on value. They buy stuff based on values. So what you really want to make sure is that you open the sale. I think public speaking taught me that kind of instinctively, because in public speaking, what you're doing is you're communicating a very complex set of ideas as simply as possible. And you're doing it in the hope that that it's going to inspire action. So, when Martin Luther King said, I have a dream that one day the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to break bread on the table of brotherhood. The first thing he did is he used imagery, because the minute the mind can see it, then you're closer to doing it, right? But the second thing he does is says, I have a dream. Towards the end of the speech, if you listen to it, he says, we need a messaging to the United States that says that you guys have issued us this check for the promises you've made, but this check has returned saying no money in the bank account. So he says, even though I have this dream, if the system or the situation doesn't allow for this dream to be actualized, it's not going to be actualized. And that works. That's really, really an effective way of doing it. So I would say to anybody who's in a sales process, particularly people who are entrepreneurs, because if you're an entrepreneur, you're selling every day, is you don't close a sale, you open a relationship. And you open a relationship in the same way you would when you want to date someone, by going, I like you. I think we have a bit of chemistry. I think this thing could go somewhere. But I think, so what do you say about a date? Then at the end of the first date, you go, what do you say about a second one? Right? That's kind of, in our firm, that's kind of how we think about building relationships with clients. It's just, you see the world in this way. We see the world in this way. What do you say we go on a date? Let's try something together. And that opening of relationships is far more sustainable because, by the way, just one final thing. Every time you close a sale, notice what you have to do is you have to make a hard promise. You never close a sale without making a hard promise. So before you close a sale, you go through the promising stage where you go, I promise my product or my business is going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you open a relationship, you don't really make a promise. You make a commitment. You kind of go, I commit that I'm going to be available, that I'm going to do the best I can, that I'm going to make sure that I'm going to do the best I can to make sure that we succeed. But a commitment is different because a promise is final. A commitment allows for latitude. So in a commitment where you fail, you can be honest and go, I thought it would, but it didn't work, or there's a problem here, or it's a mechanical issue. And because you've opened a relationship, people are a lot more forgiving than if you made very hard promises trying to close a sale, and now this thing doesn't do what you said it would do 6 months in.
I say this to every person I meet, which is public speaking is a skill, it's a tool. And it is, in my view, the single most important skill of any person who sees themselves as a leader in the new age. The ability to communicate, or the lack of it, often determines the extent to which you will succeed in life. So when you're going into an interview, it's about whether or not you can sell yourself.
Persuasion.
Exactly right.
That's
it's exactly
all it is.
Right.
CEOs spend 90% of their time persuading people to do things.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And so your ability to communicate, to speak in public, as a result of it, often will determine how society perceives you and how successful you'll become at whatever pursuit you do.
Hardest thing to do is to enable people to see themselves as they are. Not as they hoped they were, not as they've been taught they are, but as they actually are. It's the single hardest thing to do, and I'll tell you why. Because we're all embedded in this construct of a thing called identity, right? And what people forget is identity by its very nature, one is man-made and two is exclusive. What that means is the minute I say I'm male, it means I'm not female. If I say I'm black, it means I'm not white. If I say I'm African, it means I'm not American. If I say I am, educated, it means I'm not illiterate. So all the little words we use to construct identity put us in a box. They don't free us, right? And it's something people, I think, don't think about, because people today have assumed an identity for who they are. And it's all over, right? It's in the media, it's on social media, it's on TV, it's in the newspapers, it's in music videos. All you're being sold is an identity. This is what you should be based on where you come from and based on how you've been socialized. Very early on, my father taught me that I didn't have to be what society told me, right? That I could be different if I wanted.
I want to put that in context and see if I'm understanding what you're saying. So I read Nelson Mandela's Long Walk to Freedom. It with me, dude. That book is so good. Like when every second I think I'm a badass, and then I remember that the man faced 27 years in prison and refused to compromise his principles. I'm just not that hardcore. And so that is phenomenal. And I remember him saying in the book, he was like, this is Nelson Mandela talking. He said, I got on an airplane and the pilot was black. And for a minute I was scared because I didn't think black people could fly a plane. And he was like, what the like, how do I think that? And he said, if that had seeped into my mind, identity, right, then how many other people had accepted something less than who they were because of what society had told them? Is that what you mean? That we're sort of subtly taking on these I can'ts?
Exactly. So here's a great example. I'm short, therefore I can't model. Okay? I mean, it's not established that short people should model, but whether you should or whether you can are very different tests, right? And by the way, I approach every little thing in my life like that. Like all the shit I do, I go, I shouldn't, but it doesn't mean I can't. There's a big difference. So if you're telling me I shouldn't be in the room, you may be correct. It doesn't mean I don't have the capacity to be in the room. I'm going to force my way in. And I'm going to get to change your mind. So this thing about identity, I think, is so powerful, because in today's world where we're no longer demographics, we're a psychographic now. There's a kid living in Kuala Lumpur who's never been out of Kuala Lumpur, who sounds like a kid in Brooklyn, New York, because he's watching Jay-Z on YouTube. But he's completely immersed in that culture, and he's never left his small little village, right? And that's exactly the point, is everything you've been taught you are, somebody taught you that's what you are. Now, you can keep that identity, but again, you can't get the progress. And so what a lot of people do is they hang on to it, right? In South Africa, it's often about gender. Sometimes it's about tribe, right? So what tribe you come from. There's a big generation issue. So it's, I'm part of this generation. Yeah, all those things are true. But do you want the identity or do you want the progress? Because you can't have both. I'll tell you just quickly a story. So my dad was the sensei in the dojo, right? And I used to train with my dad in the dojo. And so I asked him one time, I was like, how come we get to change belts? Like, I mean, couldn't you teach the methodology without the belt system? He said two things. He said, first, human beings are incentive-based, so you need something to aim for. But he said the second thing is the reason we give you a belt is because it assigns an identity. Now, it doesn't mean that if you're orange belt, you can't take on a brown belt. It's just you embed that in your mind and you go, well, he's senior, then therefore. And so one of the things he said to me, one of the things you're going to have to learn is that real life doesn't have a belt system. So everything we know and have learned about identity is given to us. It's a template that somebody has given you, and you can just choose to run that script of Macross or not.
Thank you for watching today's video. This channel is brought to you by hopelify.org to inspire you to become the very best that you are designed to be. Remember, a few simple keys, mastered and consistently applied, are often all we need to excel in each area of life. You can help make this channel even better in 3 simple ways. 1. Subscribe to receive more videos. 2. Leave a comment below to let me know what resonates with you from today's video. Or 3. Suggest a topic for a video that you will like for us to feature on this channel. Visit hopelify.org to post your own inspirational content.